please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi there, very good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is a show where we'll highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day. It's not a great day actually for bulls because the markets are under some pressure. And in fact, we're virtually at the low point of the day, sitting with a cut of around 85 points. Well, Mangalam, it's red on the screen today. From yesterday's high, we've corrected nearly around 200 points plus on the Nifty. And today's CLSA is note, that's something that really highlighted the risk rewards. Currently they say that risk reward appears unfavorable. And they're citing a whole host of factors. One is that the GSEC is going all the way to around 7.98% odd. You have the rupee that's depreciated nearly around 7 to around 8% in this year itself. And they're saying there are possibilities now of some kind of slippage on the deficit numbers as well. And that's not going to be too good news. So macros could be adversely affected going ahead. And I think the street is quite nervous today. And that explains why the Nifty is down. The Nifty bank as well has taken a sharp knock. Keep in mind, some of those mid caps are down today between 8 to 12%.
Absolutely, Nigel. You talk about the Nifty bank, that one's down about 500 points from yesterday's top as well. You spoke about the macros. A couple of micros which may be accentuating the fall towards the downside is that yesterday, despite the the fact that we saw all the gains being erased from the top, the FII still went into the night with long positions. So they bought index futures, they sold some index puts, and a lot of unwinding is taking the market lower right now because the 10,800 call is seeing a lot of writing. That one should come up for you. But before that, the 10,800 put, that one saw a lot of writing yesterday, and now all those positions are being unwound. 5.5 lakh shares shed out there with about 38% rise in the premium. So that is pressuring the markets on the downside.
That's right. Just take a look at something like a Reliance Communications. Right. The stock has returned back to around 10 rupees. It's down close to around 15% as we speak. So keep an eye out on a few of these counters. But how do you trade a Nifty from here? We're down 85 points. Can the second half of the trade be even worse for the bulls? Can we move lower? Ashwini is with us. Ashwini, what would be the call on the Nifty? Will you be looking at shorting the Nifty on a pullback of around 15-20 points odd? And if yes, where does your stop loss come in at?
See, the market is showing follow through. And the reason is that mid caps are already in a big decline. Now, large stocks are also coming off. So in banking, BOB, ICICI Bank, which are kind of holding on, State Bank, they are now coming off. HDFC Bank is also now hardly higher, possibly that's also gone into the red. So that way, post this election verdict, there isn't enough good news to take the market higher. The levels are high, people are almost fully invested, etc. So now the market is taking cognizance of the bad news, the bond yield, the rupee, and my sense is that maybe the second top of the year has been made. Today, if we would have bounced back, become sideways, etc., then there would have been hope. But the way we've come off, say about 200, 250 points on the Nifty from the highs, any market that moves away from a key zone fairly quickly, that just means that it has reversed. And that seems to be the case for Bank Nifty, since financials had a very large rally, I think 2,000-3,000 points. I think that's where the big pain is going to be there. And now with the mid caps, I think large caps are also going to join on the downside.
All right, Ashwini, individual stocks, you've said it's going to be a day of mid caps with large caps joining on the downside. Any individual stock ideas that you have that you would recommend to short?
See, I think banks remain the favorite shorts. Enough bad results and bad news have also come in. I think PSU banks have started a fresh leg on the downside. Those were earlier recommendations. I think Federal Bank is now beginning a fresh downside. That's a sell with a stop of 78, target of 70. ICICI Bank has had a strong 4% bar on the downside, breaking its 200-day moving average. There could be continuation there, so that's a sell with a stop of 301, target of 288. And HPCL, I think once the prices were hiked, that's a sell with a stop of 320, target of 298.
All right, Ashwini, thanks a lot for joining in and giving us those ideas and cautioning our viewers as far as the market downside is concerned. With that, we'll take a short break, come back, we talk about some numbers, Shakti pumps. Put an eye on a couple of these mid-caps. Nigel, you were talking about Reliance Communications virtually breaking into the single-digit terrain, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Just a word of caution for retail investors. If you're looking at the absolute price and believing that maybe, it has run its course on the downside, just watch out, because Alok Industries, remember it being 5, now it's 1.5 rupees. Bhushan being 100, now it's around 25 rupees. And even Ruchi Soya at 18 rupees, the Patanjali deal came in, which is currently trading sub that 10 rupee mark. So we'll keep an eye out on all these beleaguered companies. But let's move on to some corporate news then. Shakti Pumps reported their numbers, a weakish set of numbers. The stock down about 7.5%. Remember, it's seen a huge rally earlier in the past. So to detail that, we have Akhilesh Maru joining in, the CFO of the company. Akhilesh, thanks a lot for joining in. First up, if I just take a look at your revenue, down about 22%, cross margins have declined. What is causing this weakness? Is it export-led weakness? Is it domestic-led weakness? Can you give us a breakup of how both these segments performed, exports and domestic?
See, first of all, I'll tell you, if we compare our year-on-year result at a consolidated level, because as we have a few more subsidiary outside working, I think overall level we have grown by 2%, not the top line grow by 22%. And yearly level 2%, and margins also improved at a yearly level from 18%. It was earlier 15%. So EBITDA has also improved, and at that level we have grown from 5% net margin to 8%.
Okay, all right. Akhilesh, let's keep it simple. I remember, last year you were buying some shares from the open market and the street got quite excited. If you could tell us, are you planning on doing that even this year, hiking some stake in the company? Point number one. Point number two, let's keep it simple. How many pumps you sold in FY18? How many are expected to sell in FY19?
See, obviously we have a plan to go for a keeping acquisition. We will look into that. And regarding the volume growth and the business growth, we are still looking this year for 20 to 25% business growth. Plus, whatever backlog we have from the previous years, that will add to the about 20-25% to the total top line.
Okay, give us a number now, Akhilesh. How many you?
See, last year, in 16-17, we sold around 1,48,000, which is because of GST converted into the normal units, which comes to around 92,000 pumps. And this year we sold around 95,000 versus 92,000 pumps. So the volume has little grown, but the realization has really improved, which is around 45,000 per unit.
What is your capacity, Akhilesh?
Capacity is around 5 lakh pumps.
And you're functioning at capacity utilization of less than 25%?
No, the 95,000 is the pump states in the units, which actually come around 55% utilization level.
All right, Akhilesh, I'll take you up on the point where you said you have creeping acquisition plans. We've seen you pump up a little in terms of promoter stake in the last 2 quarters from 47.59, it's gone to 47.7. But that said, 25% of your stake is still pledged. So any plans of depledging that and then moving ahead with the creeping acquisition?
Very much. See, these are the share plays long term with the banks for the company's working capital, so it is not required now. And I think in the next 6 months to 1 year, the entire pledge will be removed.
Entirely? Okay.
All right.
All the pledge.
This was only for the company's working capital.
And in this financial year, you can buy up to 5%. So are you planning to do that? Because you have 47% stake, 51% is where you stop or go further higher?
The first prime target is to go up to 51%.
Okay.
We can look into beyond that also.
It will be in this year itself?
No, I can't commit for this year, but yeah, we do have a creeping acquisition plan.
Okay, revenues for this year, what are they going to look like? You did 430 crores last year. This year, you're looking at a number of 500 crores?
Maybe more than that, because as I expected, I'm expecting minimum 20% growth for this year.
Okay, so
considering the big project of Kusum, considering the new state government joining, plus the backlog of the previous year, which was not happening due to some funding reason, some operational reason by certain states.
All right. Okay. All right, Akhilesh. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us all those details. All the best for the remainder of this fiscal. Well, we have some news coming in on the BSE. L-Pro, in fact, their promoters bought another 0.24% stake from the open market. Remember, they've done this in the past as well. Just a couple of months ago, I think there was some buying in the open market. They have a stake in PNB MetLife. So that's going to be the big trigger in terms of unlocking value. And 0.24% stake is what they bought in an otherwise weak market. That stock moves to the high point of the day, promoter creeping. Looks like that seems to be the trend. Shakti Pumps is talking about buying stake till around 51.
Pro is actually not the only thing which has moved to the high point of the day. In the meanwhile, just keep an eye out on the rupee as well. Our team was alerting us. It's up about 37, 38 paise from the lows of today's trading session, moving closer to the 67.5 mark. We'll just keep an eye out on the rupee. Let's pull up that intraday chart. And tell you what, we need to know exactly what is happening, because the trade deficit numbers weren't that bad. And is there any intervention coming in to protect the rupee, because it was at that 16-month low mark? So we'll watch out for the rupee, and in the meanwhile, just take a short break, right?
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out on what's going on in Karnataka as well. Some of these lucky MLAs, they are chilling out in a, in a resort. So we'll wait by to see if any piece of news coming in from there. I believe there are a lot of meetings that are taking place currently. Chilling in a resort. Let's see whether or not the numbers game can work. Great, let's get chatting with the management of Snowman Logistics. They posted an operationally strong set of numbers actually in the past quarter, though their net profit, however, did come in lower. That's because it was impacted by tax expense. We have Mr. Sundar, the CFO of the company, who joins us. Hi, Mr. Sundar. Sir, quarter one, quarter four, they're normally strong quarters for you, right? But in the last few years, I've been observing your quarter four net profit has come down from what, 13, 14 crores all the way to around 2 crores. What's a sustainable number on a quarterly basis?
See, the Q4 numbers are sustainable. The reason there is a drop at the net profit level is because there were some tax breaks which we availed in the previous year, which are not present in the current year. Otherwise, on the operational level, the margins are improving and sustainable.
All right, we take your point on the margins, but if you're saying Q4 level profit is sustainable, 2.5 crores, can we extrapolate it to the other quarters and maybe you end up with a profit of 8-10 crores, because you've been making losses for the last 2 years? Will you be profitable this year, and what is your targeted profit for this year?
We will be profitable this year. I cannot give a firm number, but I would say the Q4 performance is sustainable.
Okay, all right. Mr. Sundar, last year you had some margin expansion. So for the coming year, I think last year you did a revenue was more or less flattish. It was up 2 to 3%, but margins improved. So what kind of a number can we work with for FY19, sir? Margins sustainable at around 23%. Can you do better than that? And revenue growth?
We can definitely improve upon the margin percentages. We are looking at a blended level at 25% upwards.
In FY19?
Yeah.
And revenue growth, single digits, double digits?
Revenue growth will definitely be double digit.
Double digits. All right. So you'll be doing close to 220 crores plus next year.
Yes.
All right.
All right, 220 crores next year. Sir, a question on the business going forward, because I remember your share price right now is very close to the IPO price, 47 in September 2014, if I'm not mistaken. 4 years after listing, how much longer do shareholders have to wait? Because can FY19 be that year of inflection point? Because over the last couple of years, you've been saying, we're doing a lot of things. We're restructuring the business operations. Last quarter, we also had a sale come by from a private equity investor.
What I would say to the shareholders is the worst is over for Snowman. We had a problematic year 16-17, and 17-18 was a year of consolidation, and whatever changes that were required at leadership level as well as process, model, etc. have all been done. So 18-19 we definitely expect all the results of these changes, and I'm sure we will be rewarding the shareholders for their patience shortly.
How are you going to reward them?
I don't want to commit on any numbers.
All right, but they can be hopeful that they'll get some reward after waiting patiently by with Snowman Logistics. So great, Mr. Sundar. You're sounding confident. Finally, just one question from my end. What is the debt in your books? You have some kind of capex you planned. How do you find that?
Currently, the debt is 131 crores.
Okay.
And we have planned a capex for 18-19. Even though the projects may not be completed before 18-19, the expansion, there will be an investment which should
How much?
We are looking in the region of around 50 crores, a minimum of 50 crores.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sundar, for joining in. A capex plan of 50 crores, margins around 25% in FY19 with a double-digit revenue growth, and confident of being profitable in FY19, saying that may look to reward shareholders as well. The shareholders have been waiting for a very long time. 4 years, the company has been around that IPO price. It listed at 75. So if someone bought it at the top, it's still waiting at a loss.
But he's saying they're going to reward them. So let's see. Hopefully they get rewarded.
More importantly, I would like to see what they do for financials, because quarter after quarter they have been saying that they will improve, and this is the quarter for turnaround. He's saying FY19 is perhaps the year for turnaround. Let's see what they go ahead and do, and whether the action matches the word.
All right, keep an eye out on a couple of stocks then. Though we're trading in the red, India Bulls Real Estate actually has moved up with a gain of around 9 to around 10%. They're mulling a buyback, so keep an eye out on that stock. HEG as well as Graphite India, both those two stocks have been big multi-baggers in the last 1 year. Both management joined us here on CNBC TV 18. They sounded very confident, and both those two stocks